This is the second half of the digital workflow in Lightroom. This one will connect you into our grid for our portraiture assignment. After you have filtered out and rated your images and you've gotten it down to 12 or 16 images, you're going to click on one and Command A will select the rest of them. Go to Collections, that little plus, Create Collection. You can call it Portrait, Art 80 Portraiture. Now I've already made one of these, so I'm just gonna hit Cancel. But you would make sure that you select Include Selected Photos, and then you'll have a little thing here. All right, let me just do 2, and then it will allow you to create. Once you've created it, then Command D will deselect. The next step would be to move into the Develop module and process the images if you want to do some editing. But I'm going to jump to the Print module, which is where we're going to make our grid. And we're going to go to Page Setup. You want to select under Paper Size. It's 8 by 10 is the print size you're going to make. Sheet feeder, borderless, auto expand. It may be listed in millimeters, 203 by 254. And you may have to come back to change the orientation depending on which works best for your images and say OK. Then here below the image area where it says Use, you want to make sure you have all film strip photos selected. On the right side, under Image Settings, you're going to go Zoom to Fill. Under Layout, you're going to put 0 in all the margins, which is just you click on it, enter 0, hit Tab. And then depending on how many images, remember that we're doing 2 pages or 2 prints of grids. If you're doing 16 images, then the 2 numbers you're working with is 4 and 2. That in this case, it's 4 rows and 2 columns with a vertical orientation of the page. You may need to change that, in which case it would be 2 and 4. But you can kind of see this doesn't work. If you get something that looks like that, just change the orientation, and now it's working better. If you are working, so that's going to give you 8. If you're working with 12 images, then the 2 numbers you would be interchanging would be 3 and 2. The next thing then under cell spacing is if you want some white space between the images. If you don't, just remove them. And then just make sure where it says height, just make sure that that is as large as it can go. We then scroll down, and where it says Print Job, Print To, it's going to be JPEG file. File resolution is going to be 300. Print sharpening, low is fine. Media is glossy. JPEG quality is 100. The profile is Adobe RGB, and the intent is perceptual. Now the last thing to do before you go ahead and print is remember that up in the top right corner, left corner, that's the image of you. To move things around, you go into the film strip, and then from the center of the image, just press and drag, and that will start to change the order of where things are falling on the page. Now, you also want to make sure that you like how the colors are working together. It could be that if you end up, let's say, with these, 2 that are very similar, that's not going to be quite as visually attractive as having them broken up. That's the basic process. Then you'll hit Print to File, and you're going to put it back in your folder that's on your desktop. You'll find that Art 80 grid folder that you made. Save it with your name, and then it will go ahead and make the 2 prints for you. So that's the basic process.